Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
Autopsy results are released in the police shooting of Ezell Ford. Tonight, protesters once again take to the streets.
And temperatures are plunging across Southern California. Danny Romero is tracking the chilly weather.
The U.S. is now joining the search effort as crews look to find signs of an Asia airplane that disappeared from radar without issuing a distress signal. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. After 4.5 months, autopsy results are released today in the police shooting death of 25-year-old Ezell Ford. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson arrived at the scene of this summer shooting in South LA with details in the ongoing investigation and what the report reveals. Alex?
Colleen, we're at 6500 Broadway, where there is a group that is gathering near the spot where Ezell Ford was shot and killed by LAPD officers. You can see many of them have lit candles. It has been peaceful here so far, but most people here are very angry by what the autopsy shows. The autopsy of Ezell Ford reveals that he was shot in the right flank, right back, and right arm by LAPD officers. Mayor Eric Garcetti says, quote, "I ordered the autopsies released because transparency is the key to trust between the LAPD and the people they serve."
So it is very important to recognize that an autopsy is a piece of a much larger, more detailed investigation.
The responding officers say when Ezell Ford tried to grab one officer's gun, the officers opened fire on Ford.
There is nothing in the coroner's report that is inconsistent with the statements given to us by the officers. We still are searching for witnesses.
At the time, witnesses told the media that Ford was on his back for the shooting. Ford's family has said that Ford was mentally challenged and that they've spoken to many eyewitnesses to the shooting. But the LAPD says some of those witnesses refuse to speak to investigators.
We don't have any direct witnesses to the shooting. We have some heard witnesses, we have some secondhand witnesses, things like that.
Community activist Earl Afari Hutchinson has walked the streets of South LA encouraging people to come forward. Tonight, he's asking for District Attorney Jackie Lacey to fast-track review of this case for possible criminal charges against the officers.
People are really scared. You know, they don't want to really get involved.
Near the crime scene, resident Vernon Brown is hoping for criminal charges.
These are trained officers. You know, they're supposed to be here to protect the community.
Back live at the crime scene, you can see that there are many people here with many different points of view of what they want and what they think should be the reaction, including this man behind me. Now, within the last half hour, we spoke with the attorney for the family of Ezell Ford. He said that this autopsy is proof that the LAPD officers murdered Ezell Ford. He said it's proof that what they did to him was unconstitutional. And he says that those witnesses may not be willing to talk with LAPD investigators, but they are willing to talk in front of a jury if this case went to court. We'll hear more from him coming up at 7:30 right here on LA56 when I rejoin you live from South LA. But for now, reporting live, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Alex, we'll look forward to that interview. See you in just a few minutes. In the meantime, demonstrators have taken to the streets again following the autopsy release. A small group gathered at Leimert Park, then marched peacefully through the Crenshaw district, at one point laying in the street and blocking some lanes of traffic. Air 7 was over the scene. The protest then headed back to the park. Many say they just wanted their voices heard.
I understand that a lot of times when these things happen, you know, they feel like insecure and they feel like they may be harmed, so they take action first and they shoot. It's been going on for a long time, you know, and we're tired of this.
It's starting to feel like class warfare. It's more about now about killing brown and black young males and the poor. That's what it's starting to feel like.
Again, the protest was peaceful and no arrests were made. Stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the release of Ezell Ford's autopsy report. And as Alex mentioned, coming up at 7:30, we will hear from the Ford family's attorney.
The LAPD is back on tactical alert tonight following the release of Ezell Ford's autopsy. The LAPD went on tactical alert last night when someone opened fire with a rifle in the direction of two police officers in South LA. One suspect was arrested and a rifle was recovered. A possible accomplice is still at large tonight. The two officers were not hurt. A tactical alert allows the police department to increase increase its manpower by holding officers past the scheduled end of their shift.
Tensions are also high between police and New York's mayor over the recent killings of 2 officers. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio spoke at a police graduation ceremony. There was a spattering of boos from where the graduates' friends and families sat. A few people in the crowd also turned their backs to the mayor, similar to what happened at one of the officers' funerals on Saturday. Many officers turned their backs on de Blasio in a sign of disrespect. He addressed the hundreds of cadets today.
You will confront all manner of problems. Let's be honest about the realities of our society. You will confront all the problems that plague our society, problems that you didn't create.
Police union leaders have accused de Blasio of fostering an anti-NYPD atmosphere. They say that contributed to the killings of the 2 officers earlier this month.
Back here at home, a major break in the murder investigation of a transgender woman in Hollywood. Police have announced an arrest. 47-year-old Anaya Parker was walking on a sidewalk on Kenmore Street on October 2nd when she was confronted by 3 males, robbed and shot multiple times. Surveillance video shows the confrontation. Parker later died at the hospital. Police say the person they have arrested is a juvenile, so they are not releasing a name. Detectives are still searching for 2 other suspects.
An armed robbery suspect is in custody after leading police in a wild pursuit. It began on surface streets in South LA, where the suspect was weaving in and out of traffic at dangerous speeds. For a time, it continued onto the 10 freeway. And at one point, the suspect stops, gets out near an RV, but then he returns to the car. A short time later, he could be seen hitting a parked car and then trash cans and takes off on foot. He then tried to hide behind another car, but was eventually taken into custody without further incident.
Parts of SoCal are bracing for a winter chill tonight. Cold winter weather is set to move into the area and could drop the snow levels pretty far down, creating dangerous levels and driving in areas like the Cajon Pass. Beginning tomorrow morning, Caltrans will be pre-treating freeways with what they call brine to help prevent snow and ice from binding and sticking to the road. Our Danny Romero is here in for Jonathan Novak to show us just how freezing the forecast is going to be. Hi, Danny.
How you doing there? We're looking at pretty cold nights coming our way. Daytimes are on the cool side as well. We're watching for a couple of things to really keep an eye out for, though. Here in the darker blue, we've got the freeze watch that's going to be going on starting 10 p.m. Wednesday night through Thursday morning. Very, very cold temps here in the LA County, San Fernando Valley. Also watching here, starting by tomorrow night at 6 p.m., that winter storm watch. Winter storm conditions are on the way, but not quite happening. But the areas in the pink, that's what we're going to watch for. That's your winter storm warnings. That means those winter storm conditions will be in effect beginning tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m., continuing to Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. We're talking about very strong winds, blowing snow, reduced visibilities, and freezing temperatures. How long that lasts, I'll tell you when I come back with a 7-day in just a bit. Colleen and David right now, all yours.
All right, Danny, thank you. And remember, you can get all the weather information you need with your mobile device by downloading the free ABC7 Mega Doppler weather app. It is available from the App Store and Google Play. Just search Mega Doppler.
Can you imagine being stuck out in the wilderness? A pair of mountain bikers are home safe after spending an unexpected night in the Angeles National Forest. Search teams spotted the 2 men just before 9 o'clock this morning, hoisted them out of an area near Altadena. The men were reported missing by family members yesterday when they didn't return home. Deputies from the Altadena Sheriff Station say neither one was injured, just cold. Investigators haven't said how the men got lost.
Turning now to that missing AirAsia flight believed to have crashed somewhere off the coast of Indonesia. The U.S. is stepping in to help the search effort. ABC's David Curley has the latest developments.
With morning light, more ships and planes are scouring the Java Sea. Authorities admitting they suspect the A320 jetliner is on the ocean floor. Already, oil and debris have been picked up. Tests will determine if either is connected to the jetliner. Indonesia plans to expand the search to some nearby islands. This country is not well equipped for a large search, and tonight it officially asked the U.S. and other Western nations to assist in finding any sign of this jetliner. After the early Sunday morning takeoff from Surabaya with 162 on board bound for Singapore, the jet hit severe weather over the Java Sea. 36 minutes into the flight, 6:12 a.m., the pilot asked to turn. It's approved, and he wants to significantly increase altitude from 32,000 to 38,000 feet. But before he is cleared, 5 minutes later, the jet's transponder signal disappears from radar screens. These jetliners are built to withstand thunderstorms, and the pilot was experienced. So how does a radar signal and a jet just disappear?
When you look at an airplane that just completely disappears and the transponder goes off, you're looking at either a catastrophic failure of some sort or the crew did not respond correctly to something that happened to them.
The father of the pilot says he wants his son to come back alive, but adds it is in fate's hands. The Malaysian magnate, who is part owner of AirAsia Indonesia, vows to continue operating.
We have to find out what went wrong, and we have to carry on doing the good that we've been doing. That's my mandate.
After the loss of Malaysian Flight 370 earlier this year, there were calls to install real-time GPS tracking on aircraft. The airlines and the international regulatory body have not taken action. Tonight, the effort is aimed at finding some debris on the water. That will narrow the search, so acoustic devices can be put in that water to listen for the black boxes. The batteries last just 30 days, 2 days already lost.
And again, that was David Curley reporting. Meantime, the U.S. Navy says the San Diego-based destroyer USS Sampson has been sent to help search for the missing jet.
The death toll following that fire on board a Greek ferry has grown to 10 people, and that number could rise. 427 people, including the crew, have been rescued from the vessel, which caught fire in the Adriatic Sea off Albania. But the ship's original manifest listed 478 names. And officials say the 80 of those rescued were not on that list at all, suggesting they were illegal immigrants trying to reach Italy. 2 boats are now searching the area while authorities determine how many people may be missing. High winds and stormy seas remain a problem.
Ahead on Eyewitness News, is red meat linked to cancer? We're going to tell you what one local study says.
Plus crazy images from a local beach. A baby great white shark is seen sharing the waves with SoCal surfers. The story behind the incredible pictures next.
And a fun find in the local home reunites a grown man with mementos he hid as a boy. We're hearing from him and the family who found his time capsule coming up. Researchers at UC San Diego say they may have found a link between red meat and cancer. Researchers say a sugar that naturally occurs in animals but not in humans could be the reason why people are at a higher risk for cancer when they consume red meat. Their studies show that feeding the sugar NEU5GC to mice engineered to be deficient in it, like humans, significantly promoted spontaneous cancers. Scientists say red meats like beef, pork and lamb are rich in that type of sugar.
The CDC says we are on the threshold of a flu epidemic. According to a new Mayo Clinic report, this year's flu strain is especially strong and could be more dangerous to vulnerable people, including children and the elderly. 3 children in Minnesota have died from flu complications. 7 more are in intensive care there. And public health experts say about 90% of the flu cases have been the H3N2 subtype, the kind that leads to more hospitalizations and deaths. Doctors say that even if a child has a healthy immune system, the body can overcompensate, and if the reaction to the virus is too strong, it can cause as much damage as the virus itself.
Wow,
that's
that is
scary.
Scary, no kidding. Well, let's switch gears. Let's talk about our forecast. Very cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's winter now.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like winter, and we're actually going to see some views that look like winter up in the mountains, and not to be outdone, in the deserts as well. Let's go outside right now. Our live HD camera showing you Long Beach, and the sky's looking pretty nice now, but we will see the clouds start to move in before too long. So a beautiful view there out by the Queen. Now swinging over to Orange County, and there our Irvine Spectrum camera shows a pretty nice night in the OC, and also the temps cooling down there as well. Downtown skyline fairly clear, and we're heading towards the cold of the night. 53 right now with calm winds and 74% relative humidity. Here's how things are going to be changing for us. We've got this low, what we call an inside slider, because the low doesn't sit out here on the water bringing up a lot of moisture with it, but watch as it moves ahead tonight into tomorrow. We see this low starting to track mostly on the inland spots. So again, not a lot of moisture, but it's bringing down lots of cold air, and so it's that cold air that really makes our weather picture so strong the next few days. As that moves through the area Tuesday into Wednesday and out by Thursday, we'll get some moisture out of this, and that moisture will mean snow, and that cold air, snow levels down very, very low, 2,000, 3,000 feet. Could get anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow with this system. Not a whole lot of rain, but just the same. Tuesday night into Wednesday, that will be your period of weather happening. Here's our numbers for tonight. Cold ones, 27 Wrightwood, 21 Big Bear, 30s for Lancaster and Palmdale, and low 40s for Simi Valley and Santa Clarita, 39 for Northridge overnight. That's a cold one tonight as well. And then the highs tomorrow, yes, these are the afternoon highs, only up to the 50s in Simi Valley and Santa Clarita, 42 in Frazier Park for the afternoon high, 44 for Palmdale. We'll get to 56 in Riverside. We'll see Anaheim go to 59 degrees, Mission Viejo to 58 for the highs. Palm Springs only to 61. Here's our 7-day power back weather, and watch it now. Showers starting late tomorrow in through Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Cleared out by New Year's Day, nice and cool. No real warmth coming our way until we get to Sunday and Monday. We start to see some 70s through the LA Metro Orange County area. For the valleys, Inland Empire, showers coming late. The winds kicking up as well. Cold air dropping in. Low 30s for the lows Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday night, low 30s there, and then finally some warming by Sunday and Monday to 73 by Monday afternoon. Beach areas will start with those showers late, the winds kicking up, and those cold temps at night staying with us through the week, and by the weekend finally warming up to 70 degrees on Monday. Our mountain spots, watch out here. Snow coming in Tuesday night into Wednesday. 3 inches of snow down to the 4,000, then 3,000 foot level by Wednesday. New Year's, those numbers at nighttime, single digits through Friday, finally warming up, relatively speaking, to 50 degrees by Monday. High desert areas, there too, watch out. Could see some snow there, 1 to 3 inches, and cold air, 20s, low 20s for the overnight lows, and then finally sunshine numbers back up to the 60s by Monday. Bundle up, David and Colleen, go ahead.
Okay.
We will, Danny, thank you. You've heard the expression a fish out of water. Well, how about a shark? This video was sent in using the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness. Look closely. It's a bit pixelated, but you can see on the left side of your screen the shark jumping out of the water. Tom Campos says that he saw the baby shark last week at El Porto Beach. He believed it was 6 or 7 feet long. And remember, if you ever see news happening in your neighborhood, be sure to snap a picture or shoot video safely. Send it to us using the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness.
An incredible reunion for 2 old Army buddies who lost touch for a half-century. Imagine their surprise to find out they actually have been neighbors for nearly 20 years. Roger Watson and Dave Brown were both from Detroit. They met during basic training at Fort Hood in 1966 and became friends. Then they shipped out and never saw each other again. Or so they thought. They both ended up in Berkeley. A few years ago, Roger got to be friends with his neighbor Peggy, having no idea that she was married to Dave. And it was Peggy who recently put it all together.
To tell you the truth, it's I was flabbergasted.
We've been neighbors for 18 years and didn't realize here we were. He came running out of the house and over to the corner, had to beat back the brush over there to get through, and we just shook hands and just couldn't believe it.
They've now got a lot of catching up to do, so it's good they just live a few steps away from one another.
And an incredible update to a story we first told you about yesterday. A time capsule left in a Fontana home nearly 4 decades ago has been traced back to a man who now lives in Austin, Texas. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes tells us how social media helped link the two.
In this Fontana neighborhood, the owner of this house struck gold. Well, not real gold, but emotional gold.
We have 2 newspaper clippings, 3 coins, 1 token, a McDonald's coupon, and a letter.
Greg Sandoval's parents were renovating their house when they found a small baggie stuffed 36 years ago by a boy named Robert Wright.
I'm 12 years old and a student at Fontana Junior High.
What Sandoval thought would be an easy find, though, was not. There are a lot of Robert Wrights out there.
Initially, I did a search on Facebook for the person's name. I didn't get any results, so I gave up. But I couldn't just throw it away.
That was more than 4 years ago. But this last weekend, Sandoval told Eyewitness News about the mini time capsule. We did a quick story and posted it on our website, where our sister station in Houston picked it up. That's where friends and family recognized the name and reached out to this boy on Facebook, who now looks like this.
My Facebook page was all kind of lit up with all these notifications, and it was like, hey, this is you, this is you.
The 49-year-old version of Robert Wright now lives in Austin, Texas, and works as a physician assistant. Amazingly, this ragged note, 16 cents, and assorted other artifacts were the subject of a conversation Wright had with his father just a few months ago.
We were reminiscing and said, hey, do you remember when we did that time capsule thing and put it in the wall? And I wonder if anyone will ever find it.
Someone did find it, and now Wright has found it as well, thanks to the power of social media.
Otherwise, I probably would have never known that it was found and that somebody had it.
Junk to most folks, except for the boy who hid it and the man who refused to trash it.
What a great, interesting, nifty treasure to find.
In Glendale, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
That is great.
Fascinating.
I know.
You know, they could link up. Social media, there's a lot these days.
I know, it's incredible. And the news. Ahead on Eyewitness News, a furry reunion for one couple after their cat took a 10-day odyssey. We're going to explain.
And it's not your typical wedding photo, but it's a keeper. How President Obama made this ceremony even more unforgettable.
Plus, New Year's Eve is right around the corner. We're going to give you a first look at the upgrade to the 2015 Times Square Ball. A furry reunion for one Oregon couple. Their cat Camo is home safe after a 10-day odyssey. A week and a half ago, Roy Defect, the boyfriend of Camo's owner Haley Cruz, sold her bed set, but Roy did not know Camo was hiding in his favorite spot, the box spring. Camo later scurried away as the mattress buyer was unloading it at home. Haley and Roy put up flyers, and this week a woman called saying she had spotted Camo, so the couple set up a trap nearby with sardines and familiar scented clothing, and that night they caught him. Camo lost a few pounds, but he is doing okay.
Got him back.
Yeah.
Most couples don't get a call from the President of the United States during their wedding ceremony. Then again, most couples don't have their wedding messed up by the President in the first place. The U.S. Army captains were planning to wed on a military-based golf course in Hawaii. 24 hours before their wedding, they were told they'd have to change locations because the President was going to play a round of golf. The White House says the President didn't know about it until after the fact, and that when he found out, he called to say he was sorry and wished them well.
We are just days away from ringing in 2015, and workers today are putting the finishing touches on the giant crystal ball that will drop in New York's Times Square on New Year's Eve. The ball will be lit with nearly 2,700 crystal panels. This year's theme is the gift of fortitude, so nearly 300 of those crystals were specifically designed to represent the inner attributes of resolve and courage. Waterford crystal triangles have adorned the ball for the last 15 years.
This year's theme is the gift of fortitude. Fortitude really is that inner strength, that inner determination, and really it is a symbol and a character that we all have inside.
The ball is 12 feet in diameter and will be raised nearly 500 feet in the air. Hundreds of thousands of people crowd into Times Square each year to watch the ball drop.
A couple of days away. We are updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30, including more on the Azelle Ford autopsy.
Still to come, we're hearing from the attorney for the Ford family what he has to say.
And illegal cruising and racing shuts down a local freeway. The push to keep something like this from happening again.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Tonight, a spokesman for the Ezell Ford family is speaking out after autopsy results are released in the case. Good evening. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Donner. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And after 4.5 months, autopsy results were released today in the police shooting death of 25-year-old Ezell Ford. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live in South LA, where he just spoke to the attorney representing the Ford family. Alex.
David and Colleen, we are at the scene where Ezell Ford was shot by police. You can see that there is a group of protesters that remain here. When that bus passes, you'll be able to see them. There are some candles that they've lit. The group here has been mostly peaceful so far, but they're frustrated by the autopsy. Let's take a look at the autopsy that was released. It reveals that Ezell Ford was shot in the right flank, right back, and right arm by LAPD officers. The incident happened right here on August 11th of last year. The LAPD says that Ford reached for the gun of an LAPD officer, and then the officer and his partner shot him multiple times. The LAPD says that no direct civilian eyewitnesses to the shooting have agreed to speak with LAPD investigators, making this investigation a whole lot more difficult.
We will find out the truth of what happened on that August night. And we need the public's help. I need witnesses to come forward. We want to find out what happened that night. Because if the officers need support, they need support. If the officers need discipline or criminal prosecution, then they need that.
Ezell Ford's family and many of the protesters here say those officers deserve to be in jail. They say that Ford was mentally challenged and that the officers way overreacted to him. The Ford family's attorney has already launched a $75 million civil rights lawsuit against the LAPD and told me that this autopsy is proof of the need for criminal charges.
Well, it's horrifying, it's shocking, but unfortunately, it's all too believable. These officers simply executed Mr. Ford with a close-range shot to the back. It's something I've never seen in over 40 years of litigating police misconduct cases. It's simply unbelievable.
Ultimately, District Attorney Jackie Lacey will be the one who determines whether there will be criminal charges in this case. Now, several of the protesters here said that they do not feel comfortable speaking to the LAPD. They feel like there will be retaliation. That's what the attorney's family said as well. But he says that his witnesses would speak to a courtroom if this went to trial. Reporting live from South LA, Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you. And we'll stay on top of this story and bring you updates throughout the show. And you can stay on top of breaking news wherever you are. Just download a free ABC7 app and get alerts directly on your mobile device. It's available in the App Store, Google Play, and on Amazon.
The Highway Patrol wants to put a stop to illegal street racing and cruising. Over the weekend, the CHP took the unusual step of shutting down a section of the 105 freeway. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia has more.
What started on Crenshaw Boulevard Saturday night made its way onto the 105 freeway. The CHP says street racing drivers and spectators took over the eastbound side of the 105 freeway near Crenshaw, literally shutting it down. Organizers of the freeway takeover, according to the CHP, used social media to get the word out. The CHP, along with the LAPD and LA County Sheriff's Department, worked together to round up nearly 20 people taking part in the freeway takeover.
We made 18 arrests. We handed out 27 citations, and we towed 26 vehicles.
It took more than an hour, the CHP shutting down the eastbound lanes between Vermont Avenue and Crenshaw Boulevard.
Participants, the spectators, the other people who are spectating and having in their vehicles that are blocking law enforcement from getting in and arresting these street racers, they will also be arrested also.
The CHP says there's been an uptick in these street racing activities in and around Southern California recently. Donald Galaz, who's with the National Brotherhood of Street Racers, an organization that's been around for decades, says reopening the old Terminal Island racetrack, which was shut down nearly 20 years ago, would be a practical solution to avoid what happened over the weekend on the 105 freeway.
I know that if we did have the legal raceway back again, we can get a lot of the street racers off the street with the hopes that the guys that are doing the takeovers and the sideshows would be able to come with us and we would accommodate them too also.
And Glass says he's working with City Hall to try and make that happen. Now, among the 18 that were arrested early Sunday morning, the CHP says some of them could be facing felony charges. Reporting from South Los Angeles, above the 105 freeway, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A former teacher at Notre Dame Academy, a private school for girls in LA's West Side, has been charged with having a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old student over a 2-year period. 39-year-old Elizabeth Brewer faces 3 counts of sexual penetration by a foreign object, 2 counts of oral copulation, and 1 count of forcible oral copulation. Brewer pleaded not guilty today and is due and back in court on January 20th. If convicted, she faces a maximum sentence of 21 years in state prison.
Suspended LA Kings hockey player Slava Voinov was back in court today, where the judge gave him a March 2nd trial date. Voinov faces a series of domestic violence charges. He's accused of punching his wife at a Halloween party and later kicking and choking her at their Redondo Beach home. The hockey player has entered a plea of not guilty. He was arrested at the Torrance Hospital where his wife was being treated for injuries. The Russian-born player has been suspended from the National Hockey League without pay. A Las Vegas man has been charged with crashing into Jennifer Lopez's Rolls-Royce, who, while allegedly drunk. The crash happened last September in Malibu. LA prosecutors say 53-year-old Robert John Weitz was driving with twice the legal blood alcohol limit. Lopez's vehicle was stopped at a traffic light when Wright's pickup truck hit the Rolls-Royce from behind. Lopez was in the car with her 2 children. However, her friend, actress Leah Remini, was driving. No one was injured in the crash.
A Facebook post is getting credit for helping lead investigators to an Inland Empire burglary suspect. The post showed surveillance video of a burglary at the Cherry Valley feed store back on December 2nd. A pair of suspects broke in, grabbed a cash register and credit card reader. A number of people contacted the Sheriff's Department after seeing the post, and the tips eventually led investigators to 19-year-old Nathaniel Triplett. He is now facing a burglary charge.
The fate of California's ban on single-use plastic bags will be up to voters. Opponents of the ban had gathered enough signatures to put their referendum on the November 2016 ballot. Businesses that make the bags have been collecting signatures, but ultimately they may not have the support from enough voters to get the law repealed. A recent poll showed 60% of Californians support the current ban.
The 2015 Rose Parade is just days away, and tonight it's a mad dash to finish to make sure all the flower and fauna is in perfect place. Kaiser Permanente's massive floral creation this year celebrates the 2015 Special Olympics World Games coming to LA this summer. Dustin Plunkett, a former Special Olympics athlete, will get the honor of riding on the float this year as it rolls down Colorado Boulevard.
When I first found out that I was going to ride on the float, I was just shocked and honored and all that, and then just having an opportunity to work alongside all these great 500 volunteers that we have working on building this float is just an honor for me.
The float focuses on Kaiser's partnership with the Special Olympics, giving athletes like Plunkett the chance to touch millions around the world. The float's title, Together We Thrive.
The Tournament of Roses Queen Madison and her royal court kicked off the Pasadena Visitor Hotline today. You can get the latest information on the 126th Rose Parade, the Rose Bowl game, and basically anything else about the Tournament of Roses. The most frequent questions: where do I park and can I help decorate floats? And the toll-free number is 877-793-9911. Runs until the day after New Year's. And the most popular question then: how do I get out of here?
Lots of traffic.
No kidding.
For years, dogs have been used to finding tobacco and other contraband in prisons.
But coming up, we're going to show you how they're now being trained to sniff out other, much harder to detect items.
And do you want to build a snowman? A little boy gets a big surprise from his grandpa, who brought Olaf, the snowman, from frozen to life.
Gotta see that. Hi there, I'm Daniel Romero, and we've got some cold weather coming. Tell you about that with a 7-day coming up in just a bit.
Two men are in custody after a wild police chase involving a stolen newspaper truck in Northern California. All the excitement began just after 9 this morning when the CHP began chasing the truck. The suspects crossed the San Mateo Bridge to the East Bay and then onto the streets of San Leandro. At a dead end, the driver jumped from the truck and ran into a neighborhood. He could be seen trying to climb fences to get away. He was eventually found in a creek. His partner was caught when he jumped out earlier in the chase.
California prison officials turned to specially trained dogs to find cell phones hidden by inmates.
Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez went along on the search today in Chino. She tells us why those cell phones behind bars are a threat outside of prison walls.
Inside the California Institute for Men in Chino, there are only a few things that will get this reaction from a canine, and none of them are legal. Tobacco and drugs are easy for the dogs to detect, but it's cell phones they're after.
Well, you can smell tobacco, you can smell marijuana. We can smell it, right? And you know what they're actually sniffing for. With a cell phone, I really couldn't tell you. They surprised me.
In 2014 alone, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation confiscated more than 10,000 phones from its facilities. To combat the growing problem, CDCR is using specially trained cell phone detection canines like Scrappy.
He parked on the mattress, and that's where we were able to find cell phones, benefit tobacco, right between the mattresses.
Inmates have used cell phones to run their criminal operations on the outside.
These are prison engineers, and they would engineer packages like this to keep it concealed.
Prisoners have even turned CD players into cell phones using cellular data chips.
It's just a never-ending battle. We have to keep updating our intelligence on this stuff in order to get these guys.
In less than 2 hours, Scrappy and his handler will sweep 200 cells, uncovering all sorts of illegal items.
The contraband confiscated from inside these cells represent currency that these prisoners could have used to continue their illegal activities outside prison walls.
This is our currency, get them so much tobacco, and the tobacco will be used to pay for maybe 15 minutes of cell phone time.
Canines are helping to put a dent in those activities. In this case, the inmate caught with a cell phone will likely lose credit for time served. Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A remarkable season for whales off Southern California.
So many spotted this year, including species not often found in these waters. We're going to tell you what could be bringing them to SoCal.
And quarterbacks Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota met the media before Thursday's Rose Bowl. And coming up in sports, find out what the past two Heisman winners are saying. A Wisconsin boy had to wait a little bit for his Christmas wish. Ralph Nixon planned to build his grandson a snowman that looked like Olaf from Disney's Frozen. The only problem, no snow. A big storm arrived this weekend in Schofield, so Dixon finally had enough snow to design the 4-foot-tall Olaf. He says his grandson will be surprised because he was just expecting a regular snowman. Disney is the parent company of ABC7.
Looks just like Olaf. Well, did you see something shooting across the sky tonight? Yes, it was a shooting star visible across Southern California, and we have gotten some calls here in the newsroom, and the fire department says they are aware. No need to call 911, but if you captured any pictures or video of the shooting star, be sure to send them to us using the hashtag ABC7Eyewitness.
I want to see this. We were stuck in here. Nobody's calling.
Well, the great thing is it's a very clear night. Most skies are clear, so if there's anything happen there, you're going to see it very nicely. So,
That's great.
Cold.
Yeah. But it's not going to heat us up, though.
No, it won't at all, David. No, it's going to be cold tonight, and this is kind of just starting the real cold trend coming our way. We're going to see single-digit overnight lows in some spots. I'll show you momentarily on the 7-day. Right now, though, we'll take a look outside with our HT camera. We swing it over to LAX, and there the skies are even clear on the coast. Not a bad night for shooting star gazing as it be. We swing the camera now to downtown skies. Clear skies there as well. And yeah, it's getting cold. 53 right now, calm winds, 74% relative humidity. Today, our normal temp for this date is 68. We only got to 63. So yeah, cold air really in the place. Sunset 4:53 tonight happened, and then sunrise tomorrow just before 7 at 6:58. Full moon coming away just after New Year's. Now, here's what's changing our weather. This low that's tracking more inland than over the ocean, which gives you an idea why the weather will be as it is, moving ahead today to tomorrow and into Wednesday. That low tracks down. If it stays out over the ocean, gets a lot of moisture, we get a lot of rain out of this. But it's tracking more inland. We call it an inside slider. So as it slides down the coast, mostly on the inland spots, only a little bit of moisture with this. So there will be some moisture, meaning some rain, light showers, and snow. But also, cold air associated with this will make that rain, snow, down to some very low levels, 2,000 to 3,000 feet, not out of the question. Here's numbers tonight. Cold ones in Riverside, 39. Lake Elsinore, 37, 32 in Lancaster, 46 for Malibu overnight. And then tomorrow, the highs, not much more than the lows. Only 59 in Malibu, 51 in Santa Clarita. Pasadena, getting ready for the big day. 56 for the high tomorrow. 57 in Ontario. Let's look ahead now. 7-day powder AccuWeather. Here comes the cold and the shower starting late tomorrow into Wednesday, but cleared out by Wednesday night as you're camping out on the streets there. Thursday, New Year's Day, sunny and cool, and then we start feeling some heat by Sunday into Monday. And for the Valley's Inland Empire, it's to include Pasadena. Showers late tomorrow night. Moving out by Wednesday morning, that cold air right behind it, dropping temps down to 38 overnight in Pasadena, so we're going to see a cold night there. For New Year's Day, though, a cold day for viewing of the parade, and then nighttime numbers down to 31. Still cold through the week, finally 70s by the weekend. The beaches will be pretty nice. Again, showers late into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, clearing out. Cool weather all the way through until we get to 70 on Monday. Now the mountain areas, watch out here. The winds are strong. We've got those winter storm warnings in effect, and snow level down to 4,000 feet, 3,000 by Tuesday. Then clearing out for New Year's Day and into the weekend for some sunny skies and temps to 50 by Monday. Now for the high desert, certainly windy conditions. And there too, snow levels down real low, so we could see some snow. And look at those numbers, keeping the snow there to the 20s overnight. And then we look to Sunday and Monday, finally some temps back up to the 50s and the 60s. David and Colleen, all yours.
Danny, thank you. Clippers are back in action tonight against Utah in Game 3 of a 9 straight at home. For the first time since mid-December, they'll have a full roster when backup big man Spencer Hawes returns from a left knee bone bruise. And we'll have your Jazz Clippers highlights and Eyewitness News at 11 p.m. on ABC7. In the meantime, the Florida State football team made their way to Lowry's for Day 2 of the Beef Bowl. Oregon had their shot last night. The Beef Bowl tradition began in 1956 and is a real treat for the players and coaches. After Florida State gets their chance to eat tonight, the beef totals consumed between the two teams will be revealed. And the annual event is not only a treat for the winner of the Beef Bowl, but the winner of that Beef Bowl wins the Rose Bowl 69% of the time. When Oregon and Florida State hit the Rose Bowl field on New Year's Day, the game will feature the last two Heisman Trophy winners in Seminoles quarterback Jameis Winston and Ducks signal caller Marcus Mariota. The matchup has been portrayed as the good guy, Mariota, versus the bad guy, Winston. But both would rather let their playing do the talking.
I don't really like being in the limelight. I don't like the spotlight. I would prefer just to go about my business and not have to deal with some of stuff like this.
I just play football. At the end of the day, both of us are pretty good players on the football field, and that's what we focus on. He's a great guy, and I'm a great guy too. So we just gonna have a good matchup on the first.
Don't forget, you can catch both semifinal games in the first ever college football playoff on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app on New Year's Day. Oregon, Florida State at the Rose Bowl at 2 p.m. Alabama, Ohio State at the Sugar Bowl at 5:30, with the winners facing off in the National Championship January 12th. That game will also be on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Finally, in sports, the grounds crew in Washington finally got the stadium set up for this year's Winter Classic. The crew then took to the ice to play a little baseball, skates, gloves and all. MLB Stadium Nationals Park plays host to the first game of the year's Winter Classic when the Washington Nationals host the Chicago Blackhawks on New Year's Day.
Now moving on, a whale of terror this month for some lucky boaters off the SoCal coast. There have been more and more sightings of uncommon whale and dolphin species in our area. So today, Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee hopped on a boat, a whale watching boat, to see what he could find.
People on an early morning whale watching tour got a front row seat as a gray whale came to the ocean surface and exhaled. Captain Dan Salas says it's a common sight since the gray whale's migration from the Arctic to Mexico begins in December. What's uncommon is how many they've seen.
We've already had well over 330 whales already this month, which is a 30-year record.
Harbor Breeze Cruises partners with the Aquarium of the Pacific to study what's causing the huge number of whale sightings. Marine biologists say it's too soon to know for sure, but one theory is climate change. Ice melting in the Arctic could be making food easier to find.
If they're getting access to food or the food has just been more abundant up there, then that means that maybe they're bulking up sooner, they're done eating, and they can leave early, and that might account for the increased numbers in December.
Marine biologists also want to know why rare sightings of dolphins and a fin whale today and killer whales in the past are happening more frequently.
In general, the ocean is changing, and we know the ocean is changing. What that's going to mean long term, it's hard to say for sure.
While experts continue to determine if those changes are good or bad for ocean mammals, many are lining up for their chance to see one for themselves.
The whales were like jumping, but I think only one showed their tail.
The gray whale season runs until the end of April or beginning of May. Reporting in Long Beach, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
And more news straight ahead here at 7:30. And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Our cold snap could be more than just an annoyance for thousands of people in Pasadena for the Rose Parade. How falling temperatures could cause serious damage to parade float. Plus, what a blast, an ATM thief's heist gone wrong. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Political leaders once again dominate the list of the most admired man. According to a Gallup poll, President Obama takes the top spot as the most admired living man. 19% of those surveyed named him as the man they admire the most. It was the 7th straight year he earned that distinction. Pope Francis was a distant second, followed by former President Bill Clinton.
And on the women's side, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton topped the Gallup survey of the most admired living women. 12% of those surveyed chose Clinton as the woman they admired most. It was the 13th straight year she earned that distinction. Oprah Winfrey was second on the list, followed by First Lady Michelle Obama.
Well, thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
So remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 app. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here in LA56. In the meantime, have a great night.